let's kind of talk a little bit about this Empower Her. Okay. So from your perspective, where did this begin? What gave you the idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think really the genesis of this is my empowerment story, because it really started from when I started boxing. You know, I was broken. I felt disempowered. I was self-conscious. I wasn't confident. And so seeing my progression through boxing, seeing my own progression and seeing my confidence grow, I was like, wow, this is really cool. It just felt so good to give these women this gift of boxing that has impacted so many aspects of my life, and then to just give it as a gift to all of them, like I was sky high.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Legends Boxing Podcast. I'm really excited to be here because there's a new program that's actually just took off just a few weeks ago, I guess now, maybe a month ago, that Legends has been doing. And by the way, we have guests in studio. This is Shelby and this is Raj, and they are actually the ones who are front runners and leading this new thing that we're doing called Empower Her. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That's us. Empower Her.
That's right.
Empower Her. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you being on the podcast and being able to talk about this and tell the listeners and viewers to be able to give them some more information about kind of the direction that this is going. But before we get into that, I wanted to highlight one of our coolest products. So as a lot of you have known, especially those who have been following the podcast, you know, as the co-founder of the company, I have seen the evolution of Legends start from day one to current. And I am always impressed with the direction that we go and the fact that there is not a ceiling that we have not been able to break. And so it even boils down to this kinds of packaging. Okay, so, and this is not the product spotlight, by the way, the packaging. What's inside the packaging is the spotlight, but I wanted to show off the packaging and how absolutely cool it's come. Usually it used to just come in some really loud, crinkly cellophane type sticky stuff, and then before that it wasn't even in the packaging at all. It was just shipped in a big box and then here we go. But now it's in this actually really fancy packaging that could very well be displayed in a pro shop somewhere. But then when you pull it out, the quality of the shirts, all the stuff, it's another product highlight, hydrogen infused water, EFN sponsor right there. But the skull shirt, which is one of our newer shirts that have come out in our line, you can see how cool that design is for those who are watching on YouTube. But this is our skull shirt, and you can actually pick this up. The fabric, material, stretch, the comfort, everything absolutely amazing. I'm sure Shelby can attest to that.
Yes.
But again, like the evolution of our actual gear and how the quality has just increased, the comfort, just everything, the cut, the stitching, the print, all of it has just evolved. And so I couldn't be more proud of the quality and where we're going with Legends gear. So you can grab these online. If you caught that and you're on YouTube, you can scan that QR code right there. It'll take you directly to it. Or you can stop by at one of your local Legends near you, and I'm sure they will have that in stock. So now let's get back to the real matter at hand. Shelby.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit, number one, about yourself before we even get into the Empower Her and segue into that. Like, go back a few years ago and what about boxing? Like, where did that begin for you in your life?
Yeah, I get that question a lot because I love boxing. So people always ask me where I got started. I lived out in Saratoga Springs. They opened up a new gym there. I was a new mom, freshly new mom. I have a little 4-year-old baby girl. So yeah, I started about 3 years ago, and I saw them open the gym, and I was always curious about Legends. I had always heard about them, but I was always kind of hesitant to join. Just kind of being a mom, I'm working full time. I'm an embryologist at a fertility center as well. So I'm very busy with working full time, being a new mom, but I knew that I just needed something more. I knew that I needed to get active again. I was an athlete growing up as a kid. I played lots of different sports, but I played volleyball in high school and kind of lost track of all of that when I went to school, went to college, and then became a new mom. So I wanted to go back to finding some sort of fitness thing to get me just active. So I thought one day, I was like, they just opened this gym. I'm just going to go in and try it. Maybe I'll never even see these people again. I just was brave one day. Like, I don't know what got into me because I was just very down. Motherhood was hard, working full time, but I just wanted more. So I thought, well, I'll go try their free class. And if I walk out, these people will never see me again and no harm. And I walked in, and you'll see this in any Legends gym. I've been to several Legends gyms, but you just are surrounded with a beautiful community. The belong is one of their core values. And so I was just surrounded by all these awesome people, and I learned, like, I was not good. I was not good at boxing. I was terrible. I wasn't good at jump roping. I didn't know what I was doing, but the people there cared, and they wanted to help me, and they trained me and helped me, and I started just showing up every day, and slowly and surely I just got better and better, and I kind of stuck with it. Life threw some big changes my way recently, or 2 years ago, and I went through a divorce, which is heartbreaking, painful, but Legends was just my safe place. That was my safe haven. I just poured myself into that place because that was where I found my community. Those were my people. Every day after work, I knew that I could count on Andrew and Julie and, you know, all these Tyler. These people are going to be there, and they're going to be excited to see me. And at some point in my life, I thought these were the only people that were going to be excited to see me. And so I just kept showing up time and time again. You came and coached us for a while. That's where I kind of got introduced to you. And I vividly remember one day I was just on the bag, and you turned to me and you're just like, "Are you sparring?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm just a mom. I'm just like, I'm just here to get a workout in." Like, I could never spar. I could never punch somebody. That was never like on the radar for me. And I was just like, okay. I went home that day and I was like, okay, if Andrew thinks that I could spar, like maybe I could spar. And I just kind of sat on that for a while. And then again, I'm going through these big life changes. And so I didn't know which way was up, which way was down. I just knew that boxing was my outlet. That was my therapy. And so I just kept showing up. And then I was like, you know what? I could spar, and I'm going to. And I just did. And I started sparring. And then I got selected to be a fighter at the first Legendary Fight Night, which was huge for me. And that fight camp was incredible. Got to train like a real fighter, get in the ring, spar people, overcome so much fear that I was experiencing in such a sensitive time in my life. And I kind of just like took off from there. That's kind of my legend story, I guess.
That's a pretty impactful story right there.
Yeah.
So how did the fight go?
I won. I'm 1-0.
When was that?
It was October 2022.
What day?
October 13th.
See, I knew you'd remember.
Yeah.
You always remember your first fight.
Yeah. Or it was October 15th. October 13th was my anniversary, and so I fought 2 days after.
Nice.
Your official start date of starting boxing, that's what you're talking about? The 13th was your...
the 13th was my anniversary of when I was married.
Oh.
I know.
And then, so
it was like a sensitive day, and then like 2 days later is when I was like, I stepped into the ring, and it was like the most empowering thing for me. Like, I just remember the day of my fight, going in there, and I was untouchable. I don't know where my confidence came from, but I was just like, I didn't know, and I still don't know, I may never fight again, but in that moment, I was just like, I got this. Like, I trained so hard, I dedicated so much of my heart and body and mind, everything to this. And I was like, there's no way someone wants this more than I want this. And so I just, the day of the fight, I remember waking up and just being like, okay, let's go. Like, I was so pumped. I was ready. And I was cool as a cucumber too, which is like not like me.
So you were ready.
I was ready.
Ready to go.
I was ready to go. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Raj,
Yes.
I actually am getting to meet you for the first time.
Very first time, yep.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. I hear you come from India, so
I do.
completely different culture, completely different background, coming into the United States.
Yep.
Probably a huge culture shock for you.
Absolutely,
okay?
yes.
Walk me through that a little bit.
I will. Okay, I was born in a very small village in India. Moved here at the age of 10. Didn't speak any English, so you could tell from my accent that I do have a little bit of Indian accent. But moved here at the age of 10, grew up in West Valley, Got married at 18. I have 3 kids. Became a police officer with the Orem Police Department 5 years ago. And yeah, life has just taken on for me right now. I speak 3 other languages other than English, so that's pretty impressive.
Is Indian one of the 3?
No, Hindi, Punjabi, and Urdu, and then English.
Okay.
But Indian's not a language.
I'm just kidding.
You're good.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
Got you to laugh, lighten it up, crack the ice a little bit.
And we are. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm, again, police officer. I've been with Orem for 5 years, loving my job, love what I do. It's my passion. It's something I always wanted to do ever since I moved here.
Well, thank you for your service. Now, that was a very condensed version of
that. Was a very condensed.
There's a lot of in-betweens there.
There's a lot of in-betweens.
So talk to me more about that transition. Like, okay, yeah, you were a 10-year-old.
Right.
Coming from a culture. So as you grew up in the United States, from 10 to an adult, okay, so the 8 years before you were 18, what was that like? Was it still very traditional Indian family, still lived the very traditional Indian way? Or was that a tough transition? When did that part of your life start to transition?
So little bit of a background. I've come from a culture, it's a male-dominated culture. So women are not free in India, in a lot of parts. There's some parts that now is changing because it's 2024. But me coming from a very small village, women are basically treated as possession. Is how I was raised. But yeah, coming here at the age of 10, witnessing a lot of abuse in India towards women. The culture follows you no matter where you go. It's still going to follow you. Coming here, my family, they're still following the same culture, same traditions, still witnessing a lot of abuse at home. I would go to school, but come home to my dad beating my mom. So it's still seeing all that. And again, it's a normal thing. That's how you're raised. That's what you're taught. This is normal. It's okay for a man to do that to you. The transition was very hard. I didn't speak a word of English, so I had to take ESL classes and learn the language and the culture. Quickly after moving here, I realized, hey, this is a free country. I can do whatever I want here, and women can do whatever they want here. So I believe I was about 11 or 12 when I first told my mom, hey, Mom, I want to be a police officer because I want to protect women. And she told me, no, you're not. You're not going to be a police officer. We're going to marry you off, find you a groom, a husband, and we're going to marry you off, and you're going to have kids, and you're going to live this beautiful life. You're not going to become a police officer. You can go to school, but you will not become a police officer. And then, life kind of just took on from there. Again, to answer your question, was it a culture shock? Yes, absolutely. But it was a culture shock in a good way. In a way that I needed.
That shook it up for you.
Shook it up for me because I got to see. Mind you, I come from this country where that's all you saw. You're raised as this is normal. This is how you live your life. So coming here and witnessing this freedom and this beautiful country and what it has to offer to you was mind blowing. It was beautiful, and I was shocked and impressed and grateful to be here and to be here today to be able to tell you my story.
So before you became a police officer, did the path towards what your parents wanted, did it end up that direction?
Yes, it did. I was married at the age of 18 to my ex-husband. He was about 15 years older than I was. I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. My sister was married off before I was, and then my brother was after that, and then it was my turn. Was married off to him. It spent 15 years in that marriage, and I have 3 beautiful kids from it. And yeah.
When did you become a police officer?
I became a police officer in 2019, so 5 years ago.
Oh, recently, okay, yeah. Nice.
So it took a little bit in my life. It took longer than originally planned, but finally was able to accomplish something I always wanted to do.
But isn't that sometimes I just want to go, come on, who cares how long it took?
Right.
You still did it.
I did.
And you still accomplished what you set out to do because that's all we have is time.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
And so, again, I look back and I go, with people, especially, I'm not like super old, but I'm old enough to have experienced enough in my life. Yeah. And I look back at the younger generation or younger kids, and they're pushing to try to get stuff done so fast. And, it kind of dawns on them when they ask me, to go, hey, Coach, when did you start boxing? When I was 30. What? You started when you were 30? Yeah. So when I'm talking to you at 18 and you're telling me you don't have enough time, are you crazy? That's all you have is time.
Exactly.
You don't have any idea. Like, again, I was a mechanic when I moved to Utah.
Yeah.
There was never a thought in my mind that I was going to be a boxing coach, that I was going to own a boxing gym, that my brother and I were going to start a boxing franchise. That all happened because we were putting our time towards making that happen. So,
absolutely.
So good on you. It doesn't matter that it didn't happen when you were 18.
Right.
It happened now.
It happened, yeah. Okay. It happened at 30. I was 30 and 35 right now, but yeah.
There you go.
I was 30.
And now you've still got plenty more time to do whatever it is you want to do. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
For getting it done. Proud of you.
Thank you.
So let's kind of talk a little bit about this Empower Her, okay? Because I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of a founder of this, kind of paved the way for this to happen. So, slightly responsible for this. So let's talk about the very beginning of that. I remember you just reaching out to me and saying, hey, I have this idea. I think this would be really great. And I'm like, sure, let's go. Let's do it. Like use Orem and you make this happen. And I remember seeing you constantly on social media promoting what you're trying to do and filling up these classes and all that kinds of stuff. So from your perspective, where did this begin? What gave you the idea?
Yeah, I think really the genesis of this is my empowerment story, because it really started from when I started boxing. I was broken. I felt disempowered. I was self-conscious. I wasn't confident. And so seeing my progression through boxing, seeing my own progression and seeing my confidence grow, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I got to become a boxing coach in August. And that's when I really started being like, okay, now I'm leading these classes. Like, how cool is this? I had girlfriends that wanted to come and take my classes. But again, going back, it's a boxing gym. And so a lot of people, I remember feeling this way as well, where it's intimidating. They don't want to come into a boxing gym. And when you walk into a Legends gym, we're teaching real USA boxing. So you see real boxers in the gym. So it can be intimidating. You think, oh, I could never do that. I thought that. I said that multiple times.
Was it, Raj?
No.
When you walked in?
For me, maybe a little bit, but I think I'm used to the competition world, because I'm a very competitive person.
Do you think that a little bit of the lack of intimidation of it was just because of the occupation that
exactly,
you do?
yeah. Because
around the guys all the time and the locker rooms and their all that testosterone and everything that's going on.
Because of my job, my profession, what I do day to day, I think I wasn't that intimidated, but I get where Shelby's coming from. It's totally understandable for a girl to walk into this gym and see two dudes, going at it, fighting in the ring, because that is intimidating. When I first walked into my profession, that was intimidating. Yeah. So you get used to it, but I'm sure Shelby isn't intimidated today.
I think once you walk in, again, it's the mental aspect before you take the action. Once you walk into the gym, you're greeted by so many people, very friendly coaches. It's just the getting into the gym part that I think was keeping a lot of my friends and a lot of women away from boxing. So I was seeing this and I was like, okay, how can I fix this? I just want to do something fun for my girlfriends, get people in the gym. Maybe I could show them what I love. This is what's helped me. Maybe it could help somebody else that's also struggling. And so I just kept workshopping these ideas of trying to get an all women's beginners class so that nobody felt silly when they're coming in. They don't know how to do this skill. They don't know boxing. So I wanted it to be very inclusive so that nobody would feel silly walking into my class. Valentine's Day, it's a very, some people feel some type of way about it, but then if you've seen Parks and Rec, Leslie Knope, she comes up with Galentine's Day, where you celebrate your girlfriends. Oh. And so I was like, So that's where the Galentine's Day comes from. And
I don't watch television.
yeah, well,
I only watch the Legends Boxing podcast on YouTube. So make sure you like, subscribe, push the little button down there. Anyway, sorry.
But anyway, so I had this idea of Galentine's Day, throwing my own little boxing class, doing all of the workouts that I like to do, bringing in my girlfriends, and we'll just have fun. And that's kind of when I reached out to you, and I was like, I just need a space to do this. I really think it could be awesome, and I'll run the whole class. I'll take care of everything. Like, I just need a place to do it. And I reached out to you, and you were like, heck yeah, you were all on board, supported me, like, from the very start. You saw my vision, and you just said, go for it. And we took off from there. I did decide to make it into a fundraiser to raise funds for the Refuge, which is a local nonprofit that they raise awareness, and they give therapy, and they have a bunch of different resources and services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, which is just a cause that's really near and dear to my heart. And I really wanted to just spread some love and do some good. And I thought, what better way than to host a boxing class, take donations, and I'll donate everything to the Refuge. And me and my friends were able to raise over $1,000.
That's awesome.
In February.
That's
I know.
so great.
I remember, like, when I first thought, I was like, maybe if I get like $500 or $100, that would be amazing. And I was like, what about $1,000? And sure enough, I raised $1,111.
That is awesome.
Isn't
So
that crazy?
if someone listening to this wanted to donate to that same thing, how would they be able to do that?
You can donate just directly from their website. It's therefuge.org. It's super simple. You can just go donate your money right there.
And it's going to, what's it going to again?
They raise money they're a nonprofit that provides services for domestic abuse and sexual assault survivors. So they have safe housing, therapy, just a ton of resources. They have 24-hour hotlines. They do a really good job. They do great work. One of the members is actually a member at Orem.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
She helped out a
awesome.
ton. She came and spoke and did a fun little presentation for all the women at the event, and yeah, went really well.
Nice.
That's great. So talk to me from those two classes, because I remember it was like a 3 o'clock and a 5 o'clock class that you, like, I remember getting the text message. You're like, dude, I booked them. They're all full. And I was like, that's awesome. That's great. So from there, classes are over, because I heard they went amazing. And it's like, okay, then what's next in your head? Before Rob, like, don't even, like, before Rob even reached out to you, because I know Rob saw the potential that I know.
Yeah.
So what's in your head? Are you done? Are you even thinking about doing it again? Or like, is like this high you're still spinning on just there, and you're living in that moment? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah. I was really emotional, honestly. I just felt so accomplished. Again, I seek out these opportunities where I'm pushing myself just a little bit out of my comfort zone. So that event was one of those things where I was like, I don't know if anyone is going to show up. Like, I didn't know. I mean, yeah, I booked the classes. They booked out really fast. I think they like sold out in like 4 days. But in the back of my head, I was still like, people could not show up. What if I forget something? Like, I was just a stress case. But so then to have it go so well and have all of these women, all of my friends, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, because they showed up. They had a great time. They felt, I got so many messages of people saying that they were just like, that was so fun. I feel great. I got messages the next day saying like, yeah, my arms really hurt. I'm really sore. And I was like, yeah, that's it. That's like, it just felt so good to give these women this gift of boxing that has impacted so many aspects of my life. And then to just give it as a gift to all of them. Like, I was sky high. Like, you could not bring me down. Like, I just started thinking, okay, when's the next one? When's the next one? Like, I don't know. I don't, where am I going to go? I was like, hey, I'm going to have to reach out to Andrew again. And I guess we'll just keep rolling with this, because it resonated. It resonated with these women. It resonated with me. And I just knew that I wanted to keep going.
That's awesome. So now, Raj, how did you get involved in this now?
So I was introduced to Shelby by Rob.
Okay.
I've known Rob for a little bit now. He's a really good friend of mine, and he knows a little bit about my story and found it very fascinating and inspiring. And he introduced me to Shelby, and we came together. Rob kind of told me a little bit about the project. Hey, this is we're starting this project. It's going to be great. It's called Empower Her. We sat down, we talked about it, and it resonated with me, my story, my empowerment story. And I believe we all have a story. We all have fought battles in our lives. And to be able to share this with other females inspires them to share their story. And that's my role with Shelby, is to influence or inspire these women to stand up and talk about their story. You know, that's why I came along, and since then we became really good friends, and we're just have taken Empower Her to the next level. And
It's
we're
pretty
very
hard to not like Shelby. She's
very
pretty
excited.
easy to like.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So talk a little bit more about your story. So like, I wasn't there
Okay.
at the Saratoga like grand opening of the Empower Her class. I
Right.
heard it went amazing, but so you're not coaching the class. Shelby's doing the coaching, right?
Correct.
And so when you're there, is it just an opportunity for you to engage with people? And
Yeah. So how we had the class set up was Shelby would introduce she introduced all the girls what was going to happen, with the class and everything, and then I went upstage and I gave a little bit, told them a little bit about my story. Shelby's coaching, and I will be telling my story. And my story is. Would you like me to go into details?
yes, I would.
The entire story, or just the
Whatever you feel like sharing.
It's a long story.
Cut down.
Cut it
but,
down.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, don't tell them too much. Make them come to our class.
I know we don't want to. We don't want to
Keep
give.
a carrot dangling there. You know?
Gotta tease them a little.
I do, because I want women listening to this. I want them to sign up for the next available class, which we're going to be having in May. Going back to the culture I grew up in, I was sexually assaulted when I was little. I was raped. I was physically abused until 30. I witnessed a lot of horrific things, horrific violence towards women all of my life. Towards myself as well. I was abused by my dad, abused by my brother, abused by my ex-husband, physically. A lot of physical abuse by my ex-husband, physical and sexual. So just going into details of that would
What I'm actually more interested in is, where was that trigger point for you to be able to stand up and go, I'm done?
my brother's death. My brother passed away about 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And I was in a very dark place at the time. That was my rock bottom. And the turning around point for me, that was when I told myself, either I need to get out of this or I'm going to end up where my brother is. And that's when I decided that I needed to leave. It was mainly my marriage that I had to leave. It was miserable and it was eating me alive on the inside. So yeah, that was my, okay, I'm putting my foot down and I'm leaving this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job. I mean, there's nothing else that can be said besides that's amazing.
I have never been so happy in my life as I am today. Never been so.
I absolutely. You should be. You should carry yourself up like a straight piece of stick, wood, board. like shoulders never slouch ever. Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah, that's why I don't know why you're so nervous coming to do a podcast. I mean, the stuff that you've gone on through and taken through life.
Mind you, it's only my first podcast. So.
That's all right. Who cares? You're doing great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, okay, the two of you coming together. Tell me about the coaching side of it. As like, are you like, where are you taking the coaching to make it more of like an empowerment type standpoint? Or are you just teaching basic boxing, or you just walk me through that?
Yeah, it's kind of both. How I structured the classes, we definitely have a lot of teaching moments. Education is empowering for me. So that is definitely implemented, and that's why I wanted to bring Raj in. She's incredible. She knows a lot, and so I brought in Raj. She has her story and her teaching moments. I have my own teaching moments as well. So we educate. We did a lot of like self-defense education, and then just the confidence. And then I'm teaching basic boxing because, again, I wanted it to be tailored for beginners so that nobody, excuse me, tailoring it for beginners so that nobody feels silly when they're coming in and learning boxing. Everybody's on the same, pretty much the same field. So yeah, the beginning of my classes, we're just going back to stance, teaching 1s and 2s, hand placement, moving in our stance, very basic boxing skills. And then we put those to practice. I run my class very similar to a Legends Boxing class. So what you get in my class, you can go and you can I'll coach with you on Monday nights in Saratoga, and you'll see very similar things. We do a lot of cardio training, mitt work. I also incorporate some strength training. Trying to build muscle, I think, is important for women. And then, again, back to practicing some boxing.
Are you involving your story at all and talking about how you were empowered with boxing? Did you get that opportunity?
Yeah. I think that's where I can tie in the confidence and empowering with boxing, because that's how I got my empowerment. That's where I got my confidence. Like, stepping into that gym was my day one. That was my step one. This EmpowerHer Workshop, this is step one for a lot of women. It's just showing up, taking that action. This is your step one to your empowerment journey, your empowerment story. Whether you stick with boxing or you don't stick with boxing, that's fine, but you tried something new. And that's, I think, where my mind shift really changed in my life. So when I really take the chance to try something new and I step out of that comfort zone, that leads to your empowerment. You feel accomplished. Even if you don't like it. I've tried several things that I don't like, but now I know that I don't like them. And so it's like, okay, that's not my thing. Next.
Right.
But boxing, I tried it and it was my thing. And when you're learning a real skill like boxing, you gain confidence. And especially with boxing, there's so much to learn about boxing, and I'm a perfectionist. So I could let go of that because I was like, I will never be a perfect boxer. I could train for years and years and years, and I'll never be perfect at it. So I just released that. And I was like, I'm not going to be perfect, but I'm going to show up and do my best every single day. I remember one day you told me, like, you show up and you give 100% in every day. But some days you only have 80% in the tank, you give 80%. Or if you only have 20% in the tank, you give 20%. And that's still you giving 100% every single day. And that's kind of like what boxing has done for me. I just show up and I do my best every day, and slowly and surely my skills improved. And when you're learning a skill, your confidence in yourself is building. Like your self-development, because you're actually like, okay, when I first started, I could not jump rope. There was a girl in our gym, her name was Shauna, and she was really, really good at jump rope.
When was that? Because I've never seen that before.
No, I'm serious.
Jeez, you can hip hop dance while you are jump roping. You could probably spin on your head and still be jump roping now at this point.
Now she can.
I don't know about that. We'll work on it. Yeah, I'll have it down by next week.
The next trick, head spin jump roping.
But for real, I mean, I have some old videos of me jump roping, and I wasn't good. But I kept showing up and I kept practicing and I devoted myself and I just kept taking small action. It's not like you have to do something big every single day. It was just these small things that I was doing, and I was building that confidence as my skills kind of improved. And so I think that's where boxing and empowerment came into play. When you're learning a skill and getting better, you're going to feel better about yourself. I mean, not only that, the physical aspects, the physical benefits that I've received, just being stronger. I've lost 40 pounds since starting Legends.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, and I feel great. I feel strong. I'm doing things that I never thought that I would do. I'm sitting in this room right now. Like, when I first started at Legends, like, I was just a sad girl that was just trying to get by. Like, and so this whole EmpowerHer workshop is part of my empowerment journey too. Like, I'm still trying to just build and step out of my comfort zone and seeing what more I can do and what more I can give.
And it's like great. coming to the class, you have your own empowerment story. That's like I was telling you, is all these women, all these girls that are coming to this class, they all have a story. We're welcoming all of their stories. We're going around asking, what is your empowerment story? What's empowering you to walk into this gym today? And what's empowering you that's going to take the next step and you're going to do something great in life and find your purpose, you know?
It's pretty amazing. You guys are giving that outlet and that ability for people to come and do that.
Absolutely.
Monthly, right? Once a month.
Once a month.
At a different Legends location,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah, that's the
Next
goal.
one's where?
Riverton is where we're hoping for.
Okay. So for those who are in the Utah area that are listening or watching right now, May, do we have a date locked in?
May 17th, I
May
believe.
17th. Okay. If details change, look out for it on social media. But the next Empower Her will be at Riverton, Utah at their Legends location, May 17th. Who came up with the name?
That would be me.
Nice.
That would be me.
I like that.
Yeah.
I was actually, if you'd have given me a guess, I was going to put it on Rob. I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Rob will probably try and take credit for it, but let the record know that it was my idea. I'll go through the text messages. I have receipts.
I love it. So now a little question might get a little controversial, but I noticed you said self-defense, the word. And so I actually want your guys' opinion. Do you think teaching boxing is teaching self-defense?
No, I don't, which is kind of funny that coming into a boxing gym.
Yep.
I think a lot of people, as a coach, I get a lot of people that come in saying that they want to learn self-defense. But as women, it's not self-defense. If you wanted to hurt me, you're a bigger person, you're going to hurt me. I can't square up and I'll never be able to beat you, even if I had trained boxing for a really long
but
time.
now what about the self-proclaimed self-defense classes that you hear constantly all the time?
Yeah.
What about those? Do you think those are actually do you think that you would be taught that and then you'd be able to stop an attacker like me?
So those are a tool for your tool belt, is how we look at it as police officers. We go through all these trainings. We're just adding another tool to our tool belt. Ultimately, it comes back to your confidence. How confident are you out there on the field, out there on the streets? And that's what we're teaching. That's what we're focusing on, is building these confidence in women and having the confidence to do this. And you walk out of our class and we're going to give you a tool, but then you're going to walk out with confidence.
You hope.
Yes.
Right? You
Yes.
hope that's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So put it in this perspective. Again, what we're teaching is a sport that comes with rules.
Right.
Right.
There are no rules on the street.
Nope.
Okay? None at all.
Not at all.
So in my opinion, what I've always looked at is, and I've got through the years that I've been a boxing coach, I've had this a question asked to me so many times. No, I do not believe that boxing or Krav Maga training or any jiu-jitsu training or any of this type of stuff is a form of self-defense. I believe that it is a form of self-confidence, which takes you out of a freezing moment in the fact. Now you have the confidence of knowing how to throw a multiple punch combination correctly.
Right.
Okay. Now, is that probably going to knock out a 300-pound attacker? Probably not. But it's going to shock them and it's going to stun them, and you're going to be able to get
Run away.
from the situation because of that. And you didn't freeze and you didn't go, holy crap, and you didn't do any of that stuff because you've had the notch on your tool belt.
Right.
Put right there, it's your Batman utility belt that now I know how to do this.
Exactly.
Okay, I've been taught how to do this. So good. I'm glad we're all thinking the same.
I think the thing that comes down from a safety standpoint that you also need to keep in mind, and why I'm raising awareness about this, is because a lot of the times these attacking scenarios, I'm in a boxing gym and I'm fighting people, I'm sparring, but when I'm in a situation like that, it's unexpected. The other person has planned an attack, most likely. If I'm not being situationally aware, I'm completely taken off guard. That's completely different scenario than if I'm training in a jiu-jitsu gym or an MMA gym or a boxing ring where I know somebody's coming to attack me, right? And I know what I'm doing. A lot of these scenarios, it's unplanned, it's unexpected. And to think that I could train or I could help all these women plan every single possible horrible scenario, I can't prepare you for that. Right. But arming you with confidence and empowerment to where you feel like you can trust yourself and listen to your intuition. Intuition is a huge thing that I harp on in my classes, because that is the number one best tool in your toolkit.
Right.
Because your body is biologically created to protect you. So if you're in tune with yourself and you're listening to what needs to happen to get you out of a safe scenario, like that's going to be the best way to protect yourself in these scenarios.
I agree with you 100%. And what I can also tell you both and all the rest of the listeners out there, the ability to do without self-confidence is being blocked by all of your other negative thoughts or lacks or doubt thereof. Yeah. You're not going to respond. If you're not doing things to increase your confidence in your abilities, your immediate response is going to be freeze. It's going to be, I can't, I don't, I cannot do this, because there's that lack in confidence. Sure. So doing things outside of your comfort zone, constantly putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, like stepping into a boxing gym and learning how to box around a bunch of uncomfortable people you've never met before.
Yeah.
Doing something. I mean, even if it's not boxing, doing something that's going to put yourself into an uncomfortable situation to where you rise above it, and now it is a comfortable environment for you. That's, just like you said, develops that confidence that you need to be able to defend yourself one way or another.
Right.
Okay, like, period. If it's getting away, and that's the key here, everybody. Get away from the situation.
If you can,
yeah. And that's what you're fighting for. You're fighting to get away from the situation.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And those are the things that we can learn how to do by involving ourselves in things out of our comfort zones.
Yep. Yeah.
So
having that confidence in yourself.
Absolutely.
I also think it's worth mentioning as well, just something that's been on my mind, 80% of rapes happen from somebody that you know. So a lot of the times we're thinking that these, sexual assaults are happening like you're on a street with a stranger comes and attacks you and pins you to the ground. And yeah, that can happen. But I think it's worth raising awareness that a lot of the times, 80% of the time, it's somebody that you know, somebody like an acquaintance, somebody in your home. It's much more manipulative, and you gotta be confident and smarter, and it's not always like a physical it's not always necessarily like this physical altercation. You have to train your mind as well to be resilient and confident and strong, so that you can protect yourself against more subtle manipulative.
Well, Shelby, answer this if you're okay with it. Take yourself back 5 years ago. How many things did you say yes to when up here you really wanted to say no?
All of them.
How many things do you now say no to when you know you are not going to do it or don't want to?
All of them.
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right there, just in itself, the lack of self-confidence, you're just going to go with the flow. You're just going to bend. You're going to falter. You're going to crumble and go, okay, even though you really don't want to. Okay. And now, with the accomplishments that you've done, the hurdles you've jumped over, the walls you've literally broken down and walked through, you have the confidence just to stand up and go, no, that's wrong, and I'm not going to do that. Okay. You both have that. You had that 5 years ago when you said, go yourself, I'm going to be a police officer.
That's right.
It's what I wanted to be when I was 18 years old. And damn it, that's what I'm going to do. And now you are proud to serve Orem Police Officers SWAT Division, right?
I am. I'm the first female SWAT operator from the Orem Police Department. And going back to your being uncomfortable, was it uncomfortable? Absolutely. Is it still? Yes. To be on the team with 20 plus guys and to be the only female, it is very uncomfortable. And like we were talking about earlier, going through SWAT school, it was hell. It was miserable. But I wanted to put myself in that uncomfortable position because I wanted to achieve something outside the box because I knew I could. So I did it.
And you have. It's done.
It's done.
And now it's what's next. Okay?
Yeah,
what's next?
exactly.
What's next for EmpowerHer after Riverton? Come on. It can't just be coaching
it's
a once-a-month
thing,
boxing class.
right?
Where do we see ourselves going here?
I mean, I see this as being a big movement. I want to hear from multiple people. I want to bring in people who have empowerment stories that maybe have suffered addiction or mental health any type of woman that's overcome, I just want to hear all the stories. I think that's one of the most valuable things we can do is build this community of really resilient women where we can all just kind of rely on each other and learn from each other and build each other up. Again, going back to that belong, it's one of the core values of Legends, and that's such a huge piece of this that I want to build, is just this community together. And we'll see. I mean, we're still workshopping a lot of the workshops, trying to see what flows, what doesn't. So I'm sure there'll be kind of changes there, but one of the biggest pieces is I just want to bring in more community, hear more stories, have maybe more speakers at my classes.
It's building that inspiring, motivating, and empowered women, networking with empowered women. This is going to go beyond Legends. We wanna take this to the next level. We wanna create a network of women where each and every one of us have an empowerment story.
I love it. So let's get started. Everybody who's listening right now. I mean, seriously, in all honesty, right now, if you're listening to this, leave a comment. Leave your story.
Yes.
Okay? Rise up and empower yourself right now. You could do it right now by listening just to what these stories are and the opportunities that are out there for you to break out of your comfort zone. Leave us a comment, like this, share it with somebody else. Send this to your closest friend who you know is going through a hard time right now, is struggling, may need some encouragement to get through and move on to the next step. Okay, let's go. I would love to hear from our audience. I would love to hear from everybody who's listening to this. We all have a story, as Raj just said,
Absolutely.
And we want to hear it. So comment, like, share this with somebody. Tell somebody you need to listen to this. Take whatever you do when you share it and then text it to somebody. There's like no excuses on being able to get this out to somebody who might need to hear it right now. And that's exactly what we're doing here on this podcast.
And reach out to us. Reach out to Shelby. If you think you've got a great story, reach out to us. We'd love to hear it and have you at the next Empower Her class and give out your story.
Absolutely.
We also have a Facebook group that we've created, Legends Boxing EmpowerHer, where I've just posted a few introductions of me and Raj, but we'll post more content about safety, self-defense, empowerment, confidence. We'd love to have you on there as well, sharing your story in that Facebook group. Again, just building that community and resilience.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for being here, sharing your story. I know that this itself is breaking out of your comfort zone and being vulnerable and sharing things that, are not the most comfortable things to share. So I could not appreciate it more. My hat goes off to both of you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. We really do appreciate you guys. Please, again, like, subscribe, share it to somebody else, because I know right now there is somebody out here who needs to hear these two stories right here. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.